In this series, what I want to do is talk to you about affecting positive change. One of the few constants in life is change, and how we deal with change makes a huge difference in our emotional health and well-being. You see, when we affect change, we call it growth. When we endure change and change is forced upon us, then we often call it hardship. Think about it for a minute. So what we want to do is we want to affect positive change. We want to talk about the growth process. So what does effective, positive growth look like? Well, first of all, I want you to understand that for most of us, we don't take enough time to stop and really assess and meditate on where we are and where we want to be. What we need to do is to stop and imagine where we are. Assess life. And the first step in affecting positive growth is to assess candidly. Where are you? Like that little map in the mall, where it says, "You're here." Where are you? And then stop and take the time to think, if I continue on the course that I'm on, if I continue that trajectory, if I extrapolate it to its logical conclusion, where will I find myself? And oftentimes what we discover is that's not exactly where we want to be. And also, it's easy for us to get caught up in habitual activity or maintaining the status quo, which isn't healthy either. The second law of thermodynamics reminds us that everything moves from a state of order to disorder. So the key is to be able to intercept the entropy at its earliest stage and choose a different trajectory. First part, assess candidly, determine where you are, extrapolate it out, and see if that's where you want to ultimately wind up. Now here's the thing, you can't go back and change your beginning, but what you can do is change where you ultimately find yourself. But here's the principle. It's your direction, not your intention, that will determine your destination. And in order for us to make change, first of all, we have to become consciously aware of the need to change. Now that can happen in one of two ways, either through honest, candid assessment, or that being forced upon us for us to become consciously aware through life circumstances. Because life happens and reality will ultimately show up. Or to put it another way, whatever's down in your well will ultimately come up in your bucket. So sooner or later, life throws us a reality pitch and we have to deal with where we are and where we're headed. And in that moment, wherever that crisis occurs, that's a decisive moment. At that moment, we must make the decision whether to continue on that trajectory or chart a whole new course that will take us to a higher level. And that's what I want to talk with you about today. Affecting positive change means we have to assess candidly where we are. That means, first of all, taking the time to slow down, and that's what I want you to do. I want you to slow down and think about those areas of your life that warrant or necessitate change. Don't wait for that conversation with your boss when he tells you that your job is on the line, or go home one evening to find a note from a significant other that's earth-shattering. Don't wait until you wake up and look in the mirror and really aren't pleased with what you see. Take time to assess, be able to ascertain exactly where it is that you are, and then think through where you want to be. A good way to do that is just a real simple, informal, 360-degree interview process. You don't have to go through anything formal. Just ask this question. Find those people that are important to you and ask them this question. I want our relationship to be at a 10, with 10 being absolutely the best. I'd like to ask you where you think we are right now on a scale of 1 to 10, whether it be the relationship or the responsibilities or whatever it is that you have in common. And then once they are able to pinpoint where you are, say it be a 4 or a 6 or an 8, then ask them the simple follow-up question. In order for us to move from that point to a 10, what would it take? Two simple questions. You can ask that of your spouse, you can ask that of your colleagues, you can ask that of your friends. You can even ask that of yourself. Are you where you want to be? Assuming you want to be a 10 in each area of your life, where are you now? And what changes would you need to make in order to set a whole new trajectory to take you to ultimately where you want to be? Remember, it's your direction, not your intention, that will determine your final destination. So this week, here's your homework. Take the time to meditate and assess where you are. And if you maintain that trajectory, will that take you to where you want to be? If not, let's make a commitment to effect some positive change.